What is up, my Squirtleites? It is I, your king. Welcome back to more Let's Play Pokemon Black and White 2. In the last episode, we had an interaction with Rude, one of the former sages of Team Plasma. And after doing battle with him, he gave us a brand new Pokemon, Zorua, Ends Zorua to be specific, the 6th member of our team. But notice that I am specifically just saying the 6th member of our team and nothing more than that. Now, unfortunately, we really can't do much with this Zorua right now. I have the experience share locked on my Trapinch, who is less than 1 level away from, in fact, very, very, very close to finally receiving that rare candy that's going to push him to level 35 so that he can finally freaking evolve into Vibrava. But we're still making our way through the Driftvale Gym. We got a few more trainers left to battle. This is one of them right here. In fact, I'm hoping after this fight, I can rip that experience share off of Farina and we can get a move on. Because, man, we are getting close. And then, you know, the experience share is definitely going to be going on to Zorua after the fact so that he can start gaining some experience. But we still got a few trainers left to take care of. So this one, and then there's one more. And then my plan is just because this gym can actually be a little bit difficult to navigate, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to backtrack all the way to the entrance, and then I'm going to show you the exact path to Clay from there. Because technically, where we were in the last episode is actually closer to Clay than we are right now. I mean, if you want to be like hyper specific, Clay is only like 3 squares away from me right now, but to get to him from this side is impossible. You have to go a completely different path, and we'll talk about all that a little bit later. But for now, let's just go with keeping Tomoe out there against each of these Pokemon. This is, I think, the last one that this guy had. He only had 2, but we do have one more trainer left to battle, and he is way off in a corner, very far away from pretty much everything else. In fact, we almost technically saw him. Also great. I didn't want that, but whatever. I think we still one-shot this thing. We actually almost saw that trainer when we were battling another trainer in the last episode, but they are nowhere near each other as far as the conveyor belts are concerned. So I'm going to see if I can get through this next fight without healing Tomoe in any way, shape, or form. So I'm going to take this path, because if I go right, I am going to end up dead-ending myself. And all I want to do is go all the way as far as I can to the corner over here. All the way down. Keep going. There we go. There's our trainer. And directly above this square is actually where one of the trainers we fought in the last episode was. So it was the one that we actually had to take a conveyor belt under another trainer and then just go straight to the right over, and then we dead-ended at. This should be the last guy of the gym, and I think we are going to see my Trapinch finally evolve, which has kind of been at the cost of the rest of my team, and it has been highly unfortunate, but we're getting there. That crunch really freaking hurt. Hopefully we'll be fine getting through the rest of this fight. Okay, Sandile faints. Tomoe gets experience. Farina didn't quite evolve. I'm actually going to do a swap here really quickly because I don't think that this Drillbur can do much against Challenger. It can use Slash, but that's just about it. Oh, wait, it has Rock Slide, doesn't it? We'll see what we can do. I'm going to Aerial Ace first, just to see how much damage this does. It's probably not going to be a ton. Oh, that was a lot. Okay, well, that's fine. Challenger, I can always heal him. He'll be all right. And then also use Leftovers. That's right, because I left that on him. That's okay. In fact, why don't I just use Cut here? Sure. Because if there's anything Challenger's good at, it's going out and dishing out some high damage. So there we go. Farina wants to learn the move Crunch. We are absolutely going to get that and get rid of Bide because I have no reason to ever keep that move at any time. I just am not a fan of it, and the buildup is never worth the payoff when you can dish out that kind of damage over the same number of turns without really worrying about taking too much damage. But okay, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to head over here. You're going to notice right here we have an elevator. I'm going to take press the button. Now, the square directly above me, or I guess rectangle, but below the one that is lit up directly above me, that's where Clay is at, okay? But now we need to figure out how to get to the guy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to head back to the entrance first, and then we will talk about where to go from there. And don't worry, I haven't forgotten about my mission here. We are going to move everything around as soon as we get back. Just give me a second. We're just going to follow this all the way back to the very start, and then we can kind of go over how this whole thing works. So keep going. This was the very first trainer as soon as we entered the gym. Here we are. Okay, so first things first, let's take care of a couple of things here. First of all, rare candy for Farina, level 35. And Farina is evolving. That's right. So now we're going to get a huge change in his stats that we're going to want to keep in mind here. So we're going to check that as soon as it happens, because this is one of the few times where you don't just see an increase to those stats. You see a total shift. In fact, his attack is going to be almost exactly the same. But it's everything else that improves significantly. And Farina also wants to learn Dragon Breath to go along with his new Dragon typing. I'm going to get rid of Dig here, even though it is a stronger move than Bulldoze. Bulldoze just has more utility for me. I don't like the 2-turn usage of Dig for the power that it provides either. So now I'm going to use a Freshwater on Challenger, but I'm actually going to use a Lemonade on... Actually, do I have Soda Pops? I can't remember if I just have no Lemonades. Okay, that's fine. Use a Lemonade on Tomoe. I'll have another chance to get more vending machine stuff here relatively soon. If I need to, I can always go back to Castelia. But now that we've done that, let's take the experience share off of you. Well, let's just move it to Zorua. I think that'll be fine. And then Farina, I'm going to actually give you an item. Honestly, Farina would be perfect for the Eviolite and then swapping something else around. But I think for now, I'm going to give you... Where's my soft sand at? I know it was in here somewhere. I literally went past it. There you go. You're going to get the soft sand. Okay, perfect. So, Zorua's got the experience share. Tomoe is going to be doing most of the work in this fight, but not all of it. Well, unless I get really lucky here. And then we also have Farina in the back pocket, who is the strongest member of my team. Got Challenger, got Jack. They're right there, no slouches whatsoever. And now we got to look at Farina's stats really quickly to see that now Farina actually has really good speed and decent defenses, as opposed to really crappy defenses, and a special attack that is almost as good as its physical attack. And when it evolves again, its special attack is actually going to become its new best stat. So that's why I'm okay with the timid typing, because then I can focus on that a little bit more, or the timid nature. So now, let's follow this path. I'm going to go exactly the path that you need to go to get straight to Clay. So we're going to want to go over here. Then we're going to want to take the pink conveyor belt, the first one we see, all the way down. And we are going to follow this all the way to the very end until we get to this guy. Okay, this is actually when we've gone too far. So now we want to go back and take a right. Now we're just going to follow the pink conveyor belts from here on out, all the way throughout the gym. You're going to go, the only way you can go now, take the pink conveyor belt again, and boom, there's Clay. Kept me waiting, didn't you, kid? All right, time to see what you can do. And we're just going to jump right on into it. The battle against Clay, the 5th gym leader here in Unova, and the ground type specialist. Okay, so he is going to be starting off with Krokorok, and Krokorok is going to be packing Crunch, Sand Tomb, Bulldoze, and Torment, level 31. So this is going to be a good initial test on Tomoe's ability to actually make it through this fight. So let's begin with a Water Pulse. I didn't use an Elixir or anything of the sort, but I figured like it wasn't 100% necessary. That Eviolite is going to be doing a lot of work here, though. So let's start off with that. There is going to be some healing here, I guarantee it. So what I'm going to do is... Do I actually have time to use a battle item here? I might. Because I'm sure... Yep, he does. Okay, I do. So I'm actually going to use this on Tomoe really quickly while the Hyper Potion gets used. Assuming that we don't get critted here, this should go great. So Special Attack Rose. Awesome. Let's use another Water Pulse so we can stay on top of this situation here. Okay, just don't... Oh, the lower defense. That sucks. I don't like that. This should knock Krokorok out, no problem, though. But my question is whether or not he's going to throw out his strongest Pokemon after this or not. We will see. So Tomoe gets a bunch. Yep, there's that boosted. Okay, he's not going to. Perfect. So now he's going to use Sand Slash, which is just a pure ground-type Pokemon. This is going to have Crush Claw, Bulldoze, Fury Cutter, and Rollout. Now, I am going to take the chance here and do a little bit of healing. We actually probably will have the speed advantage on this thing in particular, because it is definitely not as fast as Krokorok is. So it's going to start with a Bulldoze, although that's going to lower our speed a little bit. Ugh, that lower defense is going to hurt. Okay, I'm going to try to just get off a Water Pulse and see if this is enough to knock this thing out. Crush Claw, non-stab, so we are good, but it lowered defenses again. So we definitely got to get Tomoe out of there as soon as this is over and done with, but that is okay with me. Sand Slash goes down, and we move on to Clay's strongest Pokemon, which is... Oh, and Zorua already gets a level up. which is Excadrill, the ground and steel type Pokemon with Slash, Rock Slide, Bulldoze, and Metal Claw. I am actually going to pull Farina out, who has not had really any battle time in this playthrough whatsoever, but now that he has evolved, he has much more of a chance here. So, because we have Levitate, we are actually going to be evolving all ground type attacks, and I am going to be able to use Bulldoze, which is actually super effective against this Excadrill. Not to mention that Soft Sand and stab damage is enough, plus the critical hit to one-shot Excadrill, give Farina a ton of experience, and boost Zorua straight to level 27, and win it all in one shot. I love it. Whew, you're really something. Little whippersnapper trainers who pack a real punch keep showing up one after another. Take this. And we are going to get ourselves the Quake badge. And on top of that, we are also going to get ourselves a very good TM here. So thank you very much, Clay. 5 badges down, 3 to go. So this is your 5th badge, huh? If that's so, Pokemon up to level 60 will obey us. So no problems with Zorua there. Here, take this too. And we got TM78, a Bulldoze. Bulldoze has a base power of 60 and always lower speed when it hits. Well, I suppose come this way. And I love that his elevator just goes, like it has, like, what would you call it? Administrative access to just go straight back to the lobby. I think that's kind of funny. Good dancers are crucial for putting on a good show. Okay, so I guess we got to follow this guy and see what's up with Clay. Because where is he leading us exactly? Got a gym badge, too. I knew you could do it. You know, my partners are the reason I was able to get that badge. But I'm sure there's more connecting us to each other than Pokeballs. If that's all there is, the stolen Purloin's feelings will never be what they were. Oh, so you two squirts know each other, huh? You both ain't bad, so I want to show you something. Wait, I just remembered, Clay. Why? What's the reason? Why have you forgiven Team Plasma? There's always room for folks to grow and change, ain't there? And if you only go after what you think is right, you may end up projecting all thoughts and opinions other than your own. That's mighty dangerous. Is that one of those compromises adults are supposed to make? Whatever. I'm gonna fight Team Plasma. Oh yeah, what were you wanting to show us? You ever heard of the Pokemon World Tournament? Trainers from all over the world gather on up to see who's the toughest. Well then, I'll be waiting for you at the south end of town. The Pokemon World Tournament, you say? Tournament to decide who's strongest, huh? Right on. It's time for some special training. Okay, interesting. Well, we should go and check that out. But first, I think we need to head on over to the Pokemon Center and get healed up really quickly. Definitely going to want to do that, especially due to the circumstances. But we should probably check really quickly and see what kind of items are now available to us. You can see now we can buy Ultra Balls in spades. We got pretty much every single type of healing item now. Full heals are readily available. And Max Repels have finally made their appearance. I'm going to buy 20 of these things just right off the bat for whenever my Super Repels run out, which won't be for a while, so that's probably good for the rest of the game. I have a few Hyper Potions I can use. Revives, I'm definitely going to buy some of those. I generally always just keep 6 revives on hand, which I know that sounds like a random number, but I've always just done it because it's the number of Pokemon in my party. So I don't know, it just kind of makes sense to me. I usually go in increments of 10 or just increments of 6s. That's always been my philosophy with buying items in Pokemon games. I don't know why. It just always has been. Usually 6s for the healing items, and usually in 10s for Pokeballs and things of that nature. But all right, now we can head on down there and see what the hubbub is all about this whole Pokemon World Tournament thing. Oh, and actually, we even have vending machines here, which that's perfect. So I might have to go back and get some of those. I knew there was going to be more places to do that, but I don't want to do that on screen, obviously. Okay, so we got a few things here. First of all, that cave down there is a relic passage. It was recently discovered, but amazingly, it's... Wait, where is it connected to again? You can actually head through here and go straight to the relic passage if you want to, but this is going to be something I'm going to save for after we discuss the tournament here. For now, I just want to go over everything that's out here. Everyone calls me the Reminder Girl. I know every move that Pokemon learn while they're leveling up, and I can make Pokemon remember those moves. If you bring me a heart skill, I make a Pokemon remember a move. Should a move be remembered? Sure! Let's take a look at what we have as options here. So let's start with Zorua here, just because Zorua was already level 25. So you can see here, we got Scary Face, which I actually got rid of for Snarl, but then you have Fake Tears, Pursuit, Leer, and Scratch. This is what we've gotten at earlier levels. Fake Tears is actually a pretty darn good one because of that lower special defense. I'm actually going to have Zorua remember this in place of Taunt. just because I'm not really going to be using my heart skills for much else, at least for the time being. There's one other Pokemon I might be using them for a little bit later, but for right now, I definitely want to do that. So there is how the move reminder works. Then we have the move deleter. Oh, that's right, I'm the move deleter. You come to make me force your Pokemon to forget some moves? Now, the only purpose of this guy is to get rid of HMs. That's it. You can use him to delete any HMs off of your Pokemon. So, for instance, I really wanted to get rid of Cut off of Challenger right now. I could absolutely do that. But Cut is going to be staying on Challenger given the circumstances. So I'm just not going to bother with that one. But okay. Okay, I think we're good. You know what I actually might do, though, now that I think about it, is I'm going to do this. I think I am going to make some move changes because we have Strength on Jack here. What I'm going to do, because I'm pretty sure, and I'm going to verify this before I make this instant change, is I'm going to see, can I teach Strength to Challenger? I can. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to actually take Strength off of Jack, and we are going to replace... We're going to replace that with Bulldoze on Jack, actually, because I know for a fact that Jack can learn that. And then we did just get that TM. So let's say that... I know it was a decent move on Jack for the time being, but I think that should be good. And I'm definitely going to give, Bulldoze is just going to be better in every single way to what we had. So Jack just instantly learns that, not bad. And then we're going to teach Strength to my Braviary in place of Scary Face. There we go. Now we got 2 normal moves and 2 flying moves. Cut is just kind of collateral damage at this point, but Strength is going to actually be a legitimately good normal move because of that stab damage. Then we have you. When a Pokemon learns the move Hidden Power, somehow I can tell what type that move will be. Should I tell you what type of Hidden Power your Pokemon will learn? Okay, so going back to Generation 2, Hidden Power was a little bit of an enigma. It was a move that basically had varying power, varying type, and a varying type category, at least up until the physical special split of Generation 4. Now, generally, back in Generation 2, you had to figure out what your hidden power type was by just trial and error, essentially. So if you didn't know that your hidden power was Psychic, you would have to just keep battling Pokemon until, oh, look, it's super effective on a fighting type, for instance. Now, depending on what that type was, that would determine what... whether or not that move was physical or special, because, well, physical and special were tied to types back in those days. But since the physical special split, now Hidden Power is always a special attack. And the power in it is still able to vary, although as of Generation 6, that was changed. So Generation 6 and 7, which still had Hidden Power, it was then normalized to an exact base power of 60. This is nice because this can fill in gaps on your team's moveset. Sometimes. This is, of course, dependent on the actual individual values of your Pokemon. It's IVs. For example, if your Pokemon has maximum individual values, the highest possible values it can get, that is automatically going to be a dark type hidden power, just for example. But obviously these things are random. Now, sometimes you can absolutely get redundant hidden powers. In fact, why don't we check out a few of our team members' hidden powers? So Jack can learn, it'd be a flying type move. So there isn't really any other way Jack can learn a flying type move, I believe, outside of maybe Aerial Ace. That's the only one I can think of off the top of my head that it is possible. So that would give it the ability to do super effective damage to things like bug types and grass types and other fighting types and whatnot. Then we have Tomoe, and Tomoe is a water type, and its hidden power would be rock. So instead of when it normally can't do anything super effective against things like ice or flying, then it has the ability to use rock type on them. Well, let's move on to Braviary and see if that's interesting. Although I wouldn't really probably teach Braviary one because it doesn't. I don't want it to learn special attacks. So it could get ice. Okay, so far none of these have been very redundant, but they are interesting to take in mind. So then we got Farina over here, which is fire. Okay, now Farina is actually able to learn things like flamethrowers, so that might be less valuable on him. But then we have Zorua here, a dark type, which can get fighting. Okay, so it can't really get fighting types, fighting type moves, so that can be pretty interesting, especially due to its special attack power. And then finally, we have Kamina, my electric type, which can get ground. Now, that is incredibly interesting, especially because hidden power is a special attack. But of course, again, that power varies, and you have to kind of determine that power based on using hidden power itself and figure out whether or not it's actually worth it. Now, unfortunately, the strongest hidden power it can get is a base power of 70. So as you can see here, it is weaker than Signal Beam and Volt Switch, but could potentially be stronger than Echoed Voice and Bite. The problem is that it can also be as low as 30. So you never really know what you're actually going to be getting out of hidden power at any one time, but it can be useful sometimes. Generally, hidden power isn't recommended in any generation before 6. Once you get into generation 6 or 7, it's actually a great stopgap, or not stopgap, a great gap filler move for any team as long as the type is actually somewhat interesting. But before generation 6, the odds were just too low that you were actually going to get a decent power on your hidden power to the point where it's just not really worth trying to make it work. So, I mean, you could try it, but I really wouldn't recommend it in most circumstances. But all right, that, guys, is going to be it for this episode of Let's Play Pokemon Black and White 2. Thank you all so very much for watching. In the next episode, we're going to head over here. We're going to see what Hugh and Clay are up to. They're going to talk to us about the Pokemon World Tournament, and that's going to be the majority of the next episode, is just going over the Pokemon World Tournament. So I hope you're all looking forward to that. Thank you all so very much, and I will see you all in the next one.